Jake Martinez wiped the sweat from his forehead as he climbed the rocky slope. The sun was getting hot on the planet New Montana, and his backpack felt heavier with each step. He had been walking for 3 hours now, checking the ground for valuable minerals. This was his job as a surveyor for the colony. The mountains here were different from Earth. The rocks were purple and green, and strange plants grew between the cracks. Jake had been on New Montana for 2 years now, but he still found new things every day. Today felt special, though. His scanner was beeping more than usual. Jake stopped and looked at his device. The readings were very strange. There was something big underground, something made of metal. He had never seen readings like this before. The colony would want to know about this discovery. He followed the scanner's signals up a steep hill. The beeping got louder and faster. Finally, he reached a flat area where the signal was strongest. But there was nothing there except rocks and dirt. Jake walked around the area, holding his scanner high. The reading showed that something large was right under his feet. He kicked at the dirt and found something hard underneath. It was not rock. It was smooth and black like metal. He got down on his hands and knees and started digging with his hands. The dirt came away easily, and soon he could see more of the black surface. It looked like part of a building or a ship. Jake's heart started beating faster. This could be the discovery of a lifetime. He dug for an hour, clearing away dirt and small rocks. What he found made him step back in surprise. It was definitely a building, but not made by humans. The walls had strange symbols carved into them, and the metal had a shine that seemed to come from inside. Jake touched one of the symbols with his finger. It felt warm, even though it should have been cold underground. As soon as he touched it, the symbol started to glow with a soft blue light. Then other symbols began to glow too, one after another, like lights turning on in a dark room. The ground under Jake's feet started to shake. He stepped back, but it was too late. The shaking got stronger, and suddenly part of the hill collapsed, revealing a doorway into the strange building. Jake could see stairs going down into darkness. He knew he should call the colony and report what he had found. But his curiosity was too strong. He had always been like this, even as a child. When he used to run marathons on Earth, he never stopped when things got difficult. He always wanted to see what was around the next corner. Jake turned on his flashlight and stepped through the doorway. The stairs were made of the same black metal as the walls. His footsteps echoed in the empty space. The air smelled different here, like metal and electricity. At the bottom of the stairs, he found a large room. The walls were covered with more glowing symbols, and there were strange machines that he did not recognize. Everything looked very old, but also very advanced. Jake realized that this place was built by aliens. He walked slowly around the room, taking pictures with his camera. The colony's scientists would want to see everything. In the center of the room was a large table with a smooth surface. When Jake got close to it, the surface started to glow and show moving pictures. The pictures showed stars and planets. Jake realized he was looking at a map of space. Some of the planets were marked with symbols, and lines connected them like roads. It was beautiful and frightening at the same time. Jake was so busy looking at the star map that he did not hear the footsteps behind him. When a shadow fell across the glowing table, he turned around quickly. What he saw made his blood turn cold. Standing in the doorway was a figure unlike anything he had ever seen. It was tall and thin, with silver skin that seemed to shine in the blue light. The creature looked like a human female, but taller and more graceful. Her eyes were bright purple and seemed to look right through him. She wore clothes that looked like they were made of metal and fabric mixed together. On her belt was a weapon that glowed with the same blue light as the symbols on the walls. When she moved, she made no sound at all. The alien female stepped into the room and spoke. Her voice was clear and musical, but there was something dangerous in it too. "Human," she said in perfect English. You have entered sacred hunting grounds. By our law, you must now participate in the great chase." Jake's mouth was dry. He tried to speak, but no words came out. How did she know English? How long had she been watching him? The alien continued speaking. "I am Kirithel of the Veltar hunting clan. You have triggered the ancient mechanism and awakened me from my wait. Now the old laws must be followed." "I don't understand," Jake finally managed to say. "I was just exploring. I didn't mean to disturb anything." Kirithel smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. Intent does not matter. You are here, and you are capable of running. That is enough. She moved closer to Jake, and he could see that her muscles were strong, and her movements were like a cat's. Every step she took was perfect and balanced. "The rules are simple," she said. "You will run, and I will chase you. If you stop running, I will kill you. If you can survive until the sun rises 3 times, you will have earned the right to live." Jake shook his head. "This is crazy. I'm not going to run from you. Let's just talk about this." Kirithel laughed, and the sound echoed off the metal walls. "Talk? You are prey now, human. Prey does not talk. Prey runs." To show him what she meant, she jumped across the room in one leap. The distance was at least 20 feet, but she crossed it as easily as stepping over a puddle. When she landed, she did not make a sound. Jake's training as a former soldier kicked in. This was real danger, and he needed to get out of here fast. He reached for his radio to call for help, but Kirithel was faster. She moved like lightning and knocked the radio from his hand. It broke into pieces when it hit the floor. "No help will come," she said. "This is between you and me. I will give you 1 hour to leave this place and get as far away as you can. When the hour is over, I will begin to hunt you. Remember, human, if you stop running, I will kill you." Jake looked at her purple eyes and knew she was not lying. He turned and ran up the stairs as fast as he could, his heart pounding in his chest. Behind him, he could hear Kirithel laughing softly as he burst out of the underground building and into the sunlight. Jake activated his emergency beacon. Maybe Captain Lisa Carter and her rescue team could reach him in time. Maybe they could help him understand what was happening. But as he started running across the rocky ground, Jake knew that he was on his own. The great chase had begun, and his life depended on something he had always been good at, never giving up, no matter how impossible things seemed. The hunt was on. Jake ran down the mountain as fast as he could. His legs were strong from years of marathon training, but the rocky ground made every step dangerous. He had to be careful not to twist his ankle or fall into the deep cracks between the rocks. The emergency beacon on his belt was flashing red. He hoped Captain Lisa Carter would see the signal and send help. But Jake knew it would take hours for anyone to reach him out here in the mountains. He would have to survive on his own until then. Behind him, the alien building had gone dark. Again, Kirithel was still inside, waiting for the hour to pass. Jake tried not to think about how fast she had moved or how easily she had jumped across the room. He needed to focus on getting away. Jake knew these mountains well from his surveying work. There was a river about 5 miles to the east, and beyond that was thick forest. If he could reach the trees, he might be able to hide or at least make it harder for her to track him as he ran. Jake tried to make sense of what had happened. The alien had spoken perfect English and seemed to know about humans. That meant her people had been watching the colony. But why had no one seen them before? And what was this great chase she talked about? The sun was getting lower in the sky. Jake had been running for 30 minutes, and his hour of freedom was half over. He reached the river just as his legs started to feel tired. The water was cold and clear, flowing fast over smooth rocks. Jake knelt down and drank some water, then splashed it on his face. The cold helped him think clearly. He looked back at the mountains and could see the place where he had found the alien building. It looked peaceful from here, but he knew danger was waiting there. His radio was broken, but Jake remembered that his emergency beacon also had a short-range communicator. He pulled it out and tried to contact the colony. Colony base, this is Jake Martinez, emergency situation. Can anyone hear me? Static filled the air for a few seconds, then a familiar voice came through. Jake, this is Captain Carter. We got your beacon signal. What's your situation? Jake felt relief wash over him. Lisa, you're not going to believe this. I found an alien structure in the mountains. There's a hostile alien here who says she's going to hunt me. I need immediate evacuation. There was a long pause. Then Captain Carter's voice came back, sounding worried. Jake, did you say alien? Are you injured? Are you sure about what you saw? I'm sure, Lisa. Her name is Kirathel. And she's from something called the Veltar hunting clan. She gave me 1 hour to run before she starts chasing me. I've got about 20 minutes left. Okay, Jake. Stay calm. I'm getting a team together right now. Tony Rodriguez is loading medical supplies, and Amy Bennett is bringing tracking equipment. We'll find you. Jake heard voices in the background as Captain Carter talked to her team. Then another voice came on the radio. It was Dr. Peter Walsh, the colony's scientist. Jake, this is Peter. Can you describe what this alien looked like? Any details might help us understand what we're dealing with. Jake quickly described Kirathel's appearance and what she had said about the great chase. Dr. Walsh was quiet for a moment, then spoke again. Jake, I'm checking our databases now. If these Veltar are who I think they are, this could be very serious. They're mentioned in some old space exploration records. They're supposed to be a warrior race that values physical endurance above everything else. What does that mean for me? Jake asked. It means you need to keep moving. Don't stop, no matter what. These aliens respect strength and endurance. If you can prove you're tough enough to survive their test, they might let you live. Jake looked at his watch. 15 minutes left. He started running again, crossing the river and heading for the forest. The trees would give him cover, but they would also make it harder for the rescue team to find him. As he ran through the first line of trees, Jake's beacon started making a strange sound. The red light changed to yellow, then to blue. Something was interfering with the signal. Lisa, are you still there? Jake called into his communicator. Captain Carter's voice came back, but it was full of static. Jake, can barely hear you. Something is blocking ... signal. The communication cut off completely. Jake was alone again. He kept running deeper into the forest. The trees here were tall and thick, with purple bark and leaves that glowed softly in the fading light. It was beautiful, but Jake was too scared to appreciate it. Every few minutes, Jake stopped to listen. He could hear normal forest sounds, insects buzzing, small animals moving through the bushes, wind in the leaves. But no sounds of pursuit. Not yet. When his watch showed that the hour was up, Jake felt his heart start beating faster. Somewhere behind him, Kirathel was beginning her hunt. He wondered how long it would take her to track into the river, and then to the forest. Jake found a small stream and followed it deeper into the woods. The water would hide his scent and footprints. He had learned this trick during his military training years ago. He hoped it would work on an alien hunter too. As darkness began to fall, Jake saw something that made him stop in surprise. High above the forest, a strange light was moving across the sky. It was not a star or a planet. It was a ship. The ship was sleek and silver, and it moved without making any sound. Jake realized it must belong to Kirathel's people. The ship stopped directly above the forest and began to glow brighter. Suddenly, a beam of light shot down from the ship and created a wall of energy around the entire forest area. Jake could see the barrier shimmering like heat waves in the air. Captain Carter and her rescue team would not be able to get through that. Jake was truly trapped now. No help was coming. It was just him and the alien hunter in the dark forest behind. Jake heard a sound that made his blood freeze. It was Kirithel's voice calling out through the trees. "Human Jake, I know you can hear me. The real chase begins now. Run well or die with honor." Her voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. Jake could not tell which direction she was coming from. He picked a direction and started running again, pushing through the glowing bushes and over fallen logs. The great chase had truly begun. And Jake knew that his life depended on something he had always been good at, never giving up. No matter how tired or scared he became. In the darkness behind him, he could hear Ethel moving through the forest like a ghost. She was coming for him, and she would not stop until one of them fell. Jake ran faster into the alien night. Jake had been running for 6 hours when he finally stopped to rest. His legs were shaking and his lungs burned with each breath. He found a small cave hidden behind some thick bushes and crawled inside. The cave was dry and warm, and it would hide him from sight. He pulled out his water bottle and took small sips. Water was precious now. He did not know how long this chase would last, and he needed to make his supplies stretch. Jake also ate one of his energy bars, chewing slowly to make it last longer. Outside the cave, the forest was quiet, too quiet. Jake knew that Kirithel was out there somewhere, tracking him through the darkness. She was probably much better at moving silently than he was. But so far, she had not found him. Jake tried his communicator again. This time, he got lucky. Captain Carter's voice came through, weak but clear. Jake, can you hear me?" "I'm here, Lisa," Jake whispered. "I'm hiding in a cave." That alien ship created some kind of barrier around the forest. "Can you get through it?" "We've been trying for hours," Captain Carter replied. "The energy field is too strong. Our ships can't get close. But Dr. Walsh has been researching these Veltar aliens. Peter, tell him what you found." Dr. Walsh's voice came on the radio. "Jake, I've been reading old exploration reports. The Veltar are an ancient race. They almost died out about 1,000 years ago because of their traditions." "What kind of traditions?" Jake asked. "They believe that life is only worth living if you're constantly being tested. They think that creatures who don't face challenges become weak and useless. The Great Chase is their most sacred ritual." Jake felt his stomach drop. "So this Kirithel really will kill me if I stop running?" "Yes, but there's more to it than that. According to these reports, the chase isn't just about killing. It's about finding someone worthy. If you can prove that you're strong enough, smart enough, and brave enough to match a Veltar warrior, they'll respect you." "What does that mean for me?" Dr. Walsh paused before answering. "It means this isn't just about survival, Jake. This is a test. If you pass it, you could change everything between humans and the Veltar." Jake thought about this as he rested in the cave. He had always been good at tests, even the hard ones. When he used to run marathons, the real challenge was not just the physical pain. It was the mental battle, the voice in his head that told him to quit when things got difficult. Suddenly, Jake heard something outside the cave. Footsteps. Very light footsteps, but getting closer. "I have to go," he whispered into the communicator. "She's found me." Jake turned off the radio and crawled to the back of the cave. There was another opening there, barely wide enough for him to squeeze through. He pushed his way out just as Kirithel's voice echoed from the front of the cave. "Clever human, you choose your hiding places well. But you cannot hide forever." Jake crawled out of the back opening and found himself on a steep hillside. Below him was a deep valley filled with strange glowing plants. Above him were more caves and rocky ledges. He had to choose quickly. Instead of running down into the valley where he would be exposed, Jake started climbing up the rocks. His hands were cut by the sharp stones, but he kept climbing. He remembered his military training from years ago. Sometimes the best way to escape was to go where your enemy did not expect. As he climbed, Jake heard Kirithel moving through the cave below. She was thorough, checking every corner. But she was also talking to him, and Jake realized she wanted him to hear her words. Your people are interesting, Jake Martinez. Most species we test panic and run blindly. But you think before you move, you use tools and tricks. This is good. Jake reached a ledge about 50 feet above the cave. From here, he could see Kirithel as she emerged from the cave opening. Even in the dim light, her silver skin seemed to glow. She looked up at the rocks where Jake was hiding, and for a moment, their eyes met. There you are, she said, but she did not sound angry. She sounded almost pleased. You climb well for a creature with such short limbs. Jake decided to try something risky. Instead of running away immediately, he called down to her. Why are you doing this? What do you want from me? Kirithel tilted her head, as if surprised that he had spoken. I want to see if your species is worthy of survival. Many races have failed this test. They run until they collapse, or they try to fight and die quickly. But you are different. Different how? You think, you adapt. You do not just run. You plan your running. This shows intelligence. Intelligence combined with endurance is rare in the galaxy. Jake felt a strange mix of fear and curiosity. What happens if I pass your test? Kirithel smiled, and this time it seemed more genuine. If you pass, your people will be marked as worthy. We will share our knowledge of the galaxy with you. If you fail. She did not finish the sentence, but Jake understood. And if I refuse to keep running? Then you die now instead of later. But I do not think you will refuse. You have the spirit of a true runner. I can see it in how you move, how you choose your paths. You were born for this. Jake realized that Kirithel was right. He had been a runner all his life. Not just in marathons, but in everything. When problems seemed impossible, he kept going. When other people gave up, he found another way. How long does this test last? He asked. Until one of us can run no more, or until you prove that human endurance can match Veltar endurance. Your choice, Jake Martinez. Kirithel stepped back and gestured toward the forest. You have rested long enough. The chase continues. Jake looked at the alien warrior. Below him. She could have climbed up to his ledge easily, but she was giving him another chance to run. This was not just about hunting. This was about something bigger. Jake thought about Dr. Walsh's words. This could change everything between humans and the Veltar. If he could prove that humans were worthy, it might open up new possibilities for his people among the stars. He stood up on the ledge and looked down at Kirithel one more time. Then let's see what humans are really made of, he said. Jake leaped from the ledge to another rock, then another, moving across the cliff face like he had been born to climb. Behind him, he heard Kirithel laugh with what sounded like genuine joy. Yes, she called after him. Now you understand. Run, human. Show me the strength of your species. The chase continued, but something had changed. Jake was no longer just running for his life. He was running for the future of humanity itself. And for the first time since this started, Jake Martinez was not afraid. He was excited. Jake had been running for 2 days and 1 night when he made a decision that surprised even himself. Instead of continuing to run away from Kirithel, he stopped in the middle of a small clearing and turned around to face her. The alien warrior emerged from the trees a few minutes later, moving like a shadow. She saw Jake standing in the center of the clearing and stopped. Her hand went to the weapon on her belt, but she did not draw it yet. You have stopped running, Jake Martinez, she said. Her voice was calm, but Jake could hear the tension in it. By the laws of my people, I must now kill you. Jake stood his ground. His legs were tired and his clothes were torn from running through the forest, but his eyes were clear and determined. I'm not giving up, he said. I'm challenging your test. Kirithel's purple eyes widened slightly. What do you mean? You said this chase was about finding someone worthy. You said it was about endurance and strength. But I think there's more to it than just running. Jake took a step forward. Kirithel's hand tightened on her weapon, but she did not move. True endurance isn't just about how far you can run, Jake continued. It's about not giving up when everything seems impossible. It's about standing up when you want to fall down. It's about facing your fears instead of running from them. Kirithel studied Jake's face carefully. No prey has ever said such words to me before. What are you proposing? I propose that we test endurance in different ways. Not just running, but thinking, solving problems, surviving impossible situations. Let's see which one of us can truly endure the most. For a long moment, the forest was completely silent. Even the insects seemed to be waiting to hear what Kirithel would say. Finally, the alien warrior smiled. It was the first genuine smile Jake had seen from her. You continue to surprise me, human. Very well. I accept your challenge. But no. If you fail any test I give you, you will die immediately. And if you fail any test I give you? Jake asked. Kirithel's smile grew wider. Then I will declare you worthy and end the great chase. But I warn you, no creature has ever given a test that a Veltar could not pass. Jake nodded. We'll see about that. The first test came immediately. Kirithel pointed to a tall tree at the edge of the clearing. Its trunk was smooth, and there were no low branches. Climb to the top of that tree using only what you can find. In this clearing, she said, you have 1 hour. Jake looked at the tree. It was at least 60 feet tall, and the trunk was too wide for him to wrap his arms around. But Jake had learned to solve problems by thinking differently than others. He spent 10 minutes gathering materials. Long vines from the forest floor, sharp stones, and flexible branches. Then he began to work. Jake used the sharp stones to cut notches in the tree trunk, creating handholds. He wove the vines together to make a rope, and used the flexible branches to create a simple pulley system. It took him 50 minutes, but he reached the top of the tree. Kirithel watched the entire process without saying a word. When Jake climbed back down, she nodded with approval. Clever, you used tools and planning instead of just strength. Now it is your turn to test me. Jake thought carefully. What could he ask an alien warrior to do that would truly test her? I want you to make me laugh, he said. Kirithel looked confused. Laugh? What is the purpose of this test? Humor requires understanding another person's mind. It requires creativity and intelligence, not just physical strength. True endurance includes emotional and mental flexibility. Kirithel was quiet for several minutes. Jake could see that she was thinking hard about this challenge. Finally, she began to tell him a story about a young Veltar hunter who tried to chase a creature that turned out to be his own shadow. The way she told it, with voices and gestures, was so funny that Jake found himself laughing despite their dangerous situation. Good, Jake said when he finished laughing. Your turn again. The tests continued through the day. Kirithel challenged Jake to survive underwater for as long as possible. Jake held his breath for over 4 minutes, using meditation techniques. He had learned as a marathon runner. Then Jake challenged Kirithel to build a fire without any tools. She succeeded, but it took her longer than expected. Each test was harder than the last. Kirithel had Jake navigate through a maze of caves, using only his sense of touch. Jake had Kirithel solve mathematical puzzles that required abstract thinking. As the tests went on, something unexpected happened. Jake and Kirithel began to talk to each other more. During rest periods between challenges, they shared stories about their people and their lives. Jake learned that Kirithel was not just a hunter. She was also a scholar who studied other species across the galaxy. She had been searching for years for a race that could match the Veltar's legendary endurance. "My people are dying," she told Jake as they sat by a small stream. "Not from disease or war, but from boredom. We have become so good at surviving that nothing challenges us anymore. Without challenges, we lose the will to live." Jake understood. "That's why you need to find other races that can push you to be better." "Yes, but most species we encounter are either too weak or too different from us. Humans are the first we have found that might be truly compatible." As the sun began to set on the second day, Jake realized that something had changed between them. They were no longer hunter and prey. They were two individuals testing each other's limits and finding mutual respect. That night, Captain Carter's voice crackled through Jake's communicator. Jake, are you there? We've found a way through the barrier." Jake looked at Kirithel, who was sitting across their small campfire. She had heard the transmission too. "Your rescue team is coming," she said quietly. "Yes," Jake replied. "What happens now?" Kirithel stood up and looked toward the edge of the forest where lights were beginning to appear through the trees. "Captain, Carter and her team were getting close. Now we must decide what kind of future our peoples will have together," Kirithel said. "Your tests have proven something important, Jake Martinez. Humans do not just endure, they adapt, they innovate. They find new ways to overcome impossible challenges." The sound of voices calling Jake's name echoed through the forest. Captain Carter's team had found them. Jake stood up too. "So what's your decision? Am I worthy?" Kirithel looked at him for a long moment. Then she reached for her weapon. Jake tensed, ready for whatever came next. But instead of drawing her weapon, Kirithel removed it from her belt and laid it on the ground between them. "You are more than worthy," she said. "You are exactly what my people have been looking for." The lights of the rescue team's flashlights began to shine through the trees around the clearing. "Jake!" Captain Carter's voice called out. "Where are you?" Jake looked at Kirithel one more time. Everything that happened in the next few minutes would determine the future relationship between humans and the Veltar. "This way." Jake called back to his rescuers. "And Lisa, come slowly. I have someone very important for you to meet." Captain Lisa Carter and her rescue team burst into the clearing with their weapons ready. They expected to find Jake fighting for his life against a dangerous alien. Instead, they found him sitting peacefully by a small fire with the silver-skinned warrior woman. "Jake!" Captain Carter shouted. "Get away from her." Jake stood up slowly and held up his hands. "Wait, Lisa. It's okay. She's not going to hurt me." Tony Rodriguez, the team medic, pointed his rifle at Kirithel. "That's the alien that threatened to kill you, Jake. We need to get you out of here." Amy Bennett, the tracker, moved to Jake's left side, trying to get a clear shot at Kirithel. "Just move away slowly, Jake. We'll handle this." But Kirithel made no move to reach for her weapon, which still lay on the ground between her and Jake. She simply watched the humans with curious purple eyes. "Please," Jake said to his friends, "lower your weapons. This is not what you think." "It is." Captain Carter kept her gun pointed at Kirithel. "Jake, you've been running for 2 days. You're probably in shock. Just step away from the alien and let us do our job." Jake shook his head. "Lisa, I know this sounds crazy, but she's not my enemy anymore. We've been testing each other, and something amazing has happened." "Testing each other?" Tony asked, confused. "Jake, she said she was going to kill you." Kirithel finally spoke. Her voice was calm and clear. "I was prepared to kill him if he failed the great chase, but Jake Martinez has proven something remarkable about your species." "Don't listen to her," Amy said. "Aliens lie just like anyone else." Jake stepped closer to his friends, but he stayed between them and Kirithel. "She's telling the truth. The great chase wasn't just about hunting. It was a test to see if humans are worthy of joining the galactic community. Captain Carter frowned. What are you talking about, Jake? The Veltar are an ancient warrior race. They've been searching the galaxy for other species that share their values of endurance and strength. Most races they test fail and are left alone. But if a species passes the test, the Veltar become their allies. Dr. Peter Walsh's voice crackled through Captain Carter's radio. Lisa, let me talk to Jake. Captain Carter activated her radio while keeping her weapon trained on Kirathel. Go ahead, Peter. Jake, I've been researching more about the Veltar. If what you're saying is true, this could be the most important moment in human history. The Veltar have access to advanced technology and knowledge of thousands of star systems. Jake nodded. That's what Kirathel told me. But there's more to it than that. Her people are dying out because they have no challenges left. They need other species to compete with, to push them to be better. Humans could be exactly what they're looking for. Kirathel stood up slowly, making sure not to make any sudden movements. Your friend speaks truth. My people have grown weak from lack of worthy opponents. But humans show a combination of traits we have never seen before. What traits? Captain Carter asked, though she still did not lower her weapon. Intelligence combined with stubbornness, Kirathel said with what might have been a smile. Physical endurance combined with creative thinking. Most species have one or two of these qualities. Humans have all of them. Jake picked up Kirathel's weapon from the ground and offered it back to her. His friends tensed, but Kirathel just looked at the weapon without taking it. I don't need that anymore, she said. The great chase is over. Jake Martinez has passed every test I could create. His species is worthy of partnership with the Veltar. Suddenly, the energy barrier around the forest began to glow brighter. Everyone looked up to see the Veltar ship descending toward the clearing. It was much larger than Jake had realized, easily the size of a small building. More of them, Tony muttered, raising his rifle again. But Kirathel held up her hand. Do not fear. Those are the elders of my clan. They have come because the great chase has lasted longer than any in our history. They want to see what kind of creature could challenge a Veltar hunter for so long. The ship landed gently at the edge of the clearing. A door opened in its side, and 3 more Veltar emerged. They were older than Kirathel, with silver skin that had a more metallic shine. Their clothes were more elaborate, decorated with symbols that seemed to move and change color. The eldest of the 3 spoke in a language that sounded like music mixed with static. Kirathel responded in the same language. They talked for several minutes while the humans watched nervously. Finally, Kirathel turned back to Jake. Elder Zarthik wishes to speak with you directly. The eldest Veltar stepped forward. When he spoke, his English was even more perfect than Kirathel's. Jake Martinez of the human species. I am Zarthik, Hunt Master of the Veltar. Kirathel has told us of your remarkable performance in the Great Chase. We are impressed. Jake felt the weight of the moment. Everything he said now would affect the future of humanity. Thank you, Huntmaster. It has been an honor to be tested by Kirathel. She is a worthy opponent and a skilled teacher. Zarthik's eyes brightened. With interest, teacher, explain. She taught me that true strength isn't just about running fast or fighting hard. It's about never giving up, even when everything seems hopeless. It's about finding new ways to solve problems that seem impossible. The Huntmaster nodded slowly. And what did you teach her? Jake glanced at Kirathel, who gave him an encouraging look. I taught her that the best challenges aren't about defeating others. They're about working together to overcome obstacles that neither of us could handle alone. Zarthik was quiet for a long moment. Then he turned to Captain Carter and her team. Humans of the colony New Montana. Your representative has proven that your species possesses the qualities we value most. We offer you a place among the star-traveling races. Captain Carter finally lowered her weapon. What exactly does that mean? It means, Kirathel said, that the Veltar will share our knowledge of the galaxy with humanity. Star maps, technology, contact with other friendly species. In return, humans will join us in exploring the unknown regions of space. Jake felt excitement building in his chest. You mean we'll work together? More than that, Zarthik said. We propose that you, Jake Martinez, become the first human member of a Veltar exploration clan. You and Kirathel will travel together, seeking new challenges and new species to test. Jake looked at his friends, then at Kirathel, then back at the Huntmaster. This was not what he had expected when he woke up that morning 3 days ago. I accept, he said without hesitation. Kirathel smiled widely. Excellent. But remember, Jake Martinez, this is only the beginning. The galaxy is full of challenges that will make our great chase look easy. Jake grinned back at her. Good. I was getting bored with surveying rocks anyway. Captain Carter shook her head in amazement. Jake, do you realize what you're agreeing to? I'm agreeing to help humanity reach for the stars, Jake replied. And to make sure we never stop running toward a better future. Kirathel laughed. Well said, partner. But remember, if you ever stop running toward tomorrow, I'll kill you myself. Jake laughed too. Then I guess we'd better keep moving forward. Together, as the Veltar ship prepared to depart with its newest crew member, Jake realized that the great chase was far from over. It was just beginning to take humanity to places they had never imagined possible. The hunt for tomorrow had begun.